Okay, so just to recap what I think you've heard you say, there's a kind of a number of moving parts which are um, potentially going to, well, they are going to delay the regulation coming into force. But it sounds like it's likely to happen. But there's going to be a delay. And I guess, when the regulation happens, operators, they're going to have still going to have to get a license. It's a huge market. We're seeing a lot of here at CAF, we're seeing a lot of operators starting to think about how they're going to get geared up to get a license. What would you say, in your view, what would be the main challenges for operators wanting to get a license and operate in Brazil?
Brazil is going to be a very difficult market to navigate from the regulatory standpoint because we have, talking about sports betting specifically, we have the federal license, we have the state license, we have the municipal license. Currently, we have Rio de Janeiro, Paraná, Paraíba, Maranhão working on their lotteries and some other states as well. But Rio de Janeiro has an open tender for not a tender, but a accreditation procedure for sports betting. Paraná has just opened their procedure. And both of those procedures, they have an issue. The payment solution, the use of the payment solution from the states is mandatory, and the cost of that payment solution is extremely high. We're talking about 2.5, 3% on turnover plus 1% on winnings, so on payouts, which makes it extremely expensive. Even though the taxation is lower compared to the federal level, the payment service provider is extremely expensive. It makes the operation almost infeasible. We are discussing with some clients the legality of that obligation to use that payment service providers. We understand that it's illegal for the state to obligate the companies to use specifically that one payment service providers, but that needs to be challenged in court. So I think the key challenges will be taxation and these other costs that are hidden in the operation. So when you say taxation, we mean the taxes, these mandatory payment costs, inspection fees, and other fees that are that the operator will have to pay. Frauds, I think these match fixing scandals just show the level of fraud that we have in Brazil that is extremely high. And litigation. I think once these companies arrive in Brazil and start operating in Brazil, they're going to face a level of litigation that they are not used to. Small claims litigation in Brazil is an issue for all consumer related companies.
Mm-hmm.
If you talk about telecom companies, cell phone, TV, they have thousands and thousands and thousands of lawsuits pending all over the country, and they have to deal with that, and that generates a very significant cost, operational cost for the companies, because in Brazil, any consumer claim can be filed as a lawsuit, as a small claim consumer lawsuit, and the consumer doesn't need to hire a lawyer to
Mm-hmm.
file that lawsuit, even though there are lawyers doing that
Yeah.
based on success. And if the consumer loses, they don't have to pay anything. They don't have to pay any cost, any cost for the use of the judiciary system. They don't have to pay any fees for the company. So the company has all the costs of hiring lawyers, paying fees, and the consumer has absolutely no risk. So the trade-off is quite complicated, but at the end of the day, they get a day out of work because they have an excuse
Yep.
not to work because they're in court. And if they lose, that's what they have. If they win, they get some money.